Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have a new layout for Pinkfresh Studio to share as part of the 5th birthday celebration blog hop going on today. And I'm going to use the new Out and About collection. I love this collection. I've made 2 layouts with it so far, and I just was in the mood to scrap another travel photo. And so this is what I have left of the papers. I have one of each paper, and so several of them I've already cut into, and I really wanted to use this tickets paper. They remind me of little stamps. And so I'm going to scrap this picture of me and my sister and her husband, and then my husband way over there across the aisle. We're on an airplane about to take off for Las Vegas a few years ago, and I printed it in black and white because there were so many different colors going on, and I thought it would really make the colors of this collection stand out. So what I'm going to do is just cut some strips of this ticket paper and then fussy cut them out. And like I said, the paper is called tickets, but it reminds me of little stamps. And so the edges of all of these little tickets are kind of perforated. And so I thought instead of trying to wiggle my scissors in and out to do all of these that way, I would just cut them into a little square there and then use my edge distresser to ruffle up the edges. And that's going to give them lots of fun texture. And I thought I would kind of start by playing around like this and arrange them in horizontal lines above and below the photo. I am going to wind up changing my mind, but I'm going to use this paper as my background. I've forgotten the name of it. Let me see if I still have it. I don't have the edge strip. I think I threw it in the trash, but it's got gray on the background and then these dotted lines going across a white background. And I thought I would just tear off the little shapes that were on the right and then attach it to some white cardstock, so I would have kind of a messy ruffled up edge just to give it some texture and a little bit of interest, and so it's not a completely solid white background. And I really like how this turns out. So I am going to add mixed media. Surprise, surprise, right? So I'm going to start with some white gesso. And this is going to prep the pattern paper for all the liquid that I'm going to add to it. And it's also going to white out or fade away some of those stripes. So I thought that I would use some of this paper also. I think it's gorgeous. It's got all the rainbow colors on it, and it matches all the colors in those tickets. And I thought I would just add a little bit of it so it's not too overpowering, because when I add all those tickets back on the background, it's going to be really busy really fast. But I didn't want to leave it just completely white over on that torn side, and so I love how that looks. Sometimes I think it's more fun to just tear your paper instead of cut it, because you get some really fun edges, and I like things to look crooked and torn, so I really like how that looks. So these are the Pinkfresh Studio liquid watercolors, and I'm going to play around with some of these and color up some of the background here. And if you've never used the Pinkfresh Studio watercolors, they're really, really pretty. They are very bold. It only takes a little bit. I mean, check out how bright this yellow is. It's so bright. And I did add a little bit of the orange to it to kind of give it more of a goldeny yellow. And I know here on camera with my bright lights above my workspace, it looks extra bright. And it is bright, but I'm going to work on it as I go here. So I'm adding a little bit of orange here. I'm using some plastic packaging to smudge the paint around. I'm also using a brush, and then I've got my little squirt bottle of water over there that I just sometimes just spray right onto the background to kind of dilute the paint and then help it run and smudge and blend. I'm also going to add some of the aqua, and I'm trying to use a couple of the colors that are in that striped paper and that are going to be in the tickets. And basically, I just want some watercolor look on the background, and a lot of it's gonna, go away when I add stuff on top of it, because you're not going to be able to see it. But you're going to be able to see it in between all those little tickets and around the photo and, things like that. So part of creating a background like this is just making it to where it's visible a little bit. Even though you do a lot of work here, some of it is going to be covered up. And that's okay with me. So I'm just going to keep working on this here. I'm going to come in with some pink and some red, because there is a pink color, but there's also kind of an orangey red color. And I'm just trying to add each color kind of not on top of the previous color. So I had the yellow in one spot, and then I tried to add the aqua in another spot. I made sure the aqua was dry, and then I'm coming in with just a little bit of this color here. I decided not to do the packaging on top of that because it would just turn into a muddy, not very pretty color. So I just going light with this one here. And you can just kind of see here, it's just an experiment. I've done this so many times on my pages, but each page is kind of an experiment because sometimes you think it's going to turn out one way and it doesn't, and you just keep working at it. And as you can see here, I don't know when to say when. I'm going to continue to go and work on it until I finally think it's done. But then when it dries and I look at it, let me take that back. When it's almost dry, I look at it and I just say, this is too bright. It's way too bright for all the other bright things I'm going to add to it. So pull out the white gesso and add another coat of that on top of everything. And since I didn't wait for it to completely dry, you know, some of the color did smudge and start to blend into the gesso. And that's okay. I just worked with it. I did let it dry, and then I went over it again. And so now it looks a lot softer. But like I said, it's going to look totally different when I add everything back on top of it. And I just didn't want the background to be solid white. I wanted some interest back there. So I'm going to come back with all those little tickets or stamps, whatever you want to call them. And again, they're very dimensional because I ruffled up the edges and, or I always say ruffled up the edges, roughed up the edges, tore up the edges. I made them all scruffy, however you want to say it. But I like this, but it's just too orderly for me. I don't know, the more I added it, I didn't want the whole paper or the whole page to be covered up. So I kind of took some time off camera, and then I just discovered this. I turned the paper sideways or the other direction and kind of just layered the little tickets on top of each other at the top part of the page, and I loved how that turned out. So I thought, let's just go with this direction. And that was not my intention at all when I started. This was going to be a vertical layout, but now it's going to be horizontal. And sometimes just trying a different direction with your background makes all the difference. And so I glued down a lot of the tickets, and then some of them I want to raise up. So I'm adding some adhesive foam behind some of those to give them a little bit of depth. And I'm going to use some thread here. I let that dry, and then I use some white thread in my sewing machine just to add some stitching detail to some of the ones that are flat glued down. And then before I glue down the ones with the foam behind it, I'm going to come in with some thread of matching colors. And I've got the yellow or the golden yellow, whatever color you want to call that. I've got a lighter blue. I've got the aqua, and then that redishy orange. Redishy, that is not a word. Oh my goodness, I literally just said redishy. The reddish orange color. That has to be one of the top 3 words that I've ever made up. Sometimes I amaze myself at my genius. I tell you what. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness it's Friday, right? So anyway, I tucked in all of those little pieces of tangled thread there. I'm going to make sure all of those are glued down. And I love the texture and pops of color that thread gives, especially when you've got a messy background like this. I think it just adds to it. I'm going to add some navy blue right here on the bottom part. And I'm going to try to keep the bottom part of this layout white. I didn't want any mixed media down there. So all the messy stuff is above that striped paper. Now I'm going to come in with some of the embellishments. I've got the stickers, and I'm going to punch this one into a circle. I didn't want the big green outline, so I'm just going to use the circle. It says Adventure Seekers, but then I take the outline of that sticker, cut it in half, and I'm going to use it as a little border sticker detail over on the sides of the photos. So always look at your stickers. If you can change the shape of it to suit your purposes, cut it out or punch it out. You don't have to use it as is. You can always make it your own. I've got some die cuts out there, and I'm just going to create a little cluster underneath the photo here. I'm going to use stickers. I've got a camera die cut, another little ticket that says air, because we were about to be in the air. another one of the tickets that says C, and then up above the photo I tucked in a little tab that says yay, and then one of those epoxy clips that says go. And this is another sticker that says travel. And what I'm trying to do is get all of these details down below the photo with all the colors from the top of the layout. So I've got some light blue, dark blue, green, yellow, red, pink. Now these stickers here are not from this collection. These are from the Joyful Day collection. But I love the font and I wanted to use it, but this color does not match any of the colors in the Out and About collection. So here's what you can do if you like a font of something that's the wrong color. Change the color. All I'm going to do is stick it onto some plastic that I can toss and then coat it with some white gesso a couple times, let it dry, add a little bit more until it's white. And then I just pulled out this Martha Stewart acrylic gold metallic paint, and I'm just going to paint these letters gold because I feel like when I make a layout about Las Vegas, I want it to have something shiny on it. I always think of lights and glitter and shiny things, and so now I'm letting that dry, but I have the word Vegas in shiny gold, so it's going to be part of my title. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue down this cluster here. Some of these elements I'm going to raise up off the page with some more of the adhesive foam. And I love how this is looking. This, like I said, this turned out so different than how I originally planned, and I love it even more. Has that ever happened to you? It happens to me quite a lot, actually, because I start out with this great idea, and then it just changes as I go. And that's, you know, to me, that's part of the fun of this hobby, is you just discover something that you didn't even think of by accident. You know, you just turn the paper, or you make a mistake and you actually wind up liking it. So I think that's part of the fun part of this. So these are dry and they're kind of sticky because I put so much stuff on them, but now they're dry and I'm going to start to work on how I want the title to go. Like I said, I love this font, and those are from the Joyful Day collection, and they were blue, but you would never know. Now they're gold. I'm going to use this little tab that says here we go, and something about adventure. I think adventure seeker, something about adventure. And then I'm going to overlap the title on top of it, and my title is going to be Vegas Bound. Now I have these navy blue stickers, and to be honest, I can't remember if these are Pinkfresh Studio from something past or Hip Kit Club, because we get a lot of Pinkfresh Studio and Hip Kit Club, and sometimes the exclusive items that we get in Hip Kit Club look so much like the Pinkfresh Studio alphas. So I can't remember, but they match perfectly. And so Vegas Bound, sweet and simple, is going to be the title there. And I like the mixing and matching of fonts, and I like the pull of the navy blue by the gold. And then I added a little airplane puffy sticker. So I've got there you go. Now you can kind of see how shimmery and sparkly the gold is. And that's just cheap acrylic paint. I got that at Michael's. Like I said, it's Martha Stewart. So yeah, always have that on hand. And you could also water that down and use a brush to create gold splatters. I think that works great too. So I'm almost done here. I'm going to use my T-square ruler. I've got all this glorious white space here to write my journaling. Actually write a little bit more journaling than I usually do. And then at the bottom I added another sticker with some gold stitching, and then I added some more gold stitching up on the top just to bring in more pops of that gold. And then I felt like I needed a little more gold because I was just in a gold mood, and I decided to add a little bit of tangled gold thread, which is tricky because the gold thread never wants to cooperate as well because it's a little stiffer than the cotton thread, but I made it work, made sure it was all glued down. So now I have several little parts of shiny gold all around the page. And the last thing I'm going to do is add some gold splatters. And I believe that is going to wrap it up. Yep, here's the final layout. I really love how this turned out. I love the process of it, and I hope you did too. I love this collection. It's really inspiring me to scrap some travel photos, and I just love all the colors and so many fun travel elements here. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you check out the blog hop. There's a huge list of blog hoppers celebrating Pinkfresh Studio's 5th birthday. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the hop and enjoy all the inspiration and all the projects that you will see. So thank you for watching and for commenting and for all your lovely support, and I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you have a great weekend.